rock and roll.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Heels and Quads podcast. I almost slipped there. Today, for you, we have a special interview. I'm Levi, of course, joined by Tommy, who led the interview.
Not really.
Well, you know, you ran away with it. It was good.
But I made a point. I stopped 15 minutes in, and I was like, the rest is yours.
I didn't mean it in a bad way. I just
no, you did.
It was you get.
No, you did.
I did. Actually, it was passive aggressive. Speaking of passive aggressive, but yeah, a great interview today with the Andy LaRocque of King Diamond and many other fame. At the Gates, Death. Those are the two I was focused on primarily. You'll have to name the rest.
And mostly, you know, King Diamond and
mostly
producer,
King Diamond.
yeah,
Production,
yeah,
which he was in the studio. So
yeah,
as
cool,
you'll
man.
see, following this, obviously this is in post.
Yeah, it was cool, man, to see somebody in a natural environment like that. Fucking badass. I mean, it looked cool as fuck. I was like, I could go in there and like twist knobs and push buttons all day and have a good time.
Yeah, Swedish people are cool, dude. That's one of the countries on my list of I would leave the U.S. to go there.
Yeah, it's not like here where, you know, most of us are assholes and like always in a hurry and like I was like, yeah, we're not gonna keep you longer than a half hour, and like it stopped recording and he was like, here, you take a look at the studio, and like he wasn't in any hurry to get out of there, and I just being me, I'm like, okay, you gotta go because I don't want to take up any of your time. I start to feel guilty when I tell somebody a specific amount of time. I try to stick to it.
Yeah. So anyways, you'll see that right about now, and we'll see you after.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a long time since we've had an interview, a guest in the house. But today, I think this blossomed from us doing the classic album Clash. Obviously, we did Merciful Fate, Don't Break the Oath versus King Diamond, Abigail. And part of the winning band, King Diamond, legendary guitar player, producer, and owner of Sonic Train Studios in Sweden, Mr. Andy LaRocque. Andy, thanks for jumping on the show.
Hey guys, thank you. How are you guys
Thanks
doing?
for being here.
Good, man.
We're having a good one, man.
We were talking a little bit about weather off air. That seems to be a trending topic with us. We're always talking about weather.
It's always the small talk with us is weather. But we live in, you know, we're in Arkansas and the weather kind of sucks here. And Andy here's in Sweden, which, man, I've always wanted to experience the weather there because I love me some chilly. You know, does it snow a lot there, or is it rainy more?
No, I mean it's not as hot as you guys in the summertime. You know, it can be a few days. You know, it's like what we call the Swedish summer only lasts for a couple of days. You know.
Okay. Yeah.
Usually, but you know, it's around maybe 70, 75. You know, something. Like that.
Oh, that's perfect.
That's
I guess so. You know, sometimes it can be hotter, of course. You know, but then again, we have a winter. And it's dark, you know, from like end of October to like March, you know, it's dark, you know.
Yeah.
So that's when you write all the good music, I believe.
Yeah, I was going to say, does that help? Does that help with the writing process for you?
Yeah, it does.
You're in the right headspace that way.
Yeah.
So I'll open it up with, like I said, a softball question, and it's kind of like a history / question. So let's go back to 1985. Get a phone call from your buddy Mickey D. And those who don't know who Mickey D is, what are you listening or watching this for? But you get that phone call, and you know they're looking for a guitar player in King Diamond. One, I believe I've read or heard that you were working at a music store at the time, correct?
That's correct. I was working in a music store, and me and Mickey, we knew each other from, you know, a while back, a couple of years back, actually, you know, and we jammed together a few times and things like that, you know. And I followed him, you know, going down to Denmark and, you know, started working with King and Michael Danner and Timmy Hansen. And I was like, wow, that's really cool, man, going down to Denmark, you know, Copenhagen and working with these guys. And they went into the studio, and I believe they were in the studio for about 2 weeks when they figured out that the guitarist they had in the studio, it didn't work out at all. So that's why Mickey called me and asked me to come down and try it out with these guys, you know. So, well, the same day I called my boss and said, hey, I got to quit this. You know, I quit the music store, and I picked my guitar and my amplifier, and I went down to Copenhagen the next day.
And you were
And
22 at the time, right?
I was 22. Yeah, 22.
Wow.
And I met the guys in the studio, you know, said hi, and we talked a little bit. You know, I did not understand Danish at all at that time. So we spoke English to each other, except for me and Mika, of course, you know, we were Swedish. And I hang out with the guys for a while, and then they asked me to play around a little bit, you know, play along with a song called Dressed in White. And that was a section of that song, you know, that they asked me to play around with a little bit, you know. So I said, oh, and, you know, ran through it a few times, you know, and recorded a few leads. And they had a meeting later, and later that afternoon, King came out to me and said, you're welcome into the band.
And did you, I mean, at 22, were you ever thinking like 37 years later, we're still doing this thing?
You know, at that time, you only live like a day at a time,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
so it's like 37 years later, it's crazy to think about that, you know. I mean, that did not exist back then, that's for sure, you know.
And the fan base just continues to grow. Like, I'm new to King Diamond. I grew up, I was, you know, a big, still am big Kiss fan, you know, that classic rock, Aerosmith, all that stuff. So I'm newer to King Diamond, and I found it, actually, me and Levi started doing kind of like a spin-off show. We started as a wrestling podcast, honestly. And then we started doing this music thing. And then I don't know what happened, but I just like, the more I listened to you guys, it was like, it like overwhelmed me. Like I got sucked.
It's like nothing you've ever heard.
Yeah, it would just blew my mind.
Different.
And I'd heard it before because my brother was big into it, but I, you know, then I was just in my own thing. And now, like, I don't know, as I get older, I feel like I listen to stuff that I wasn't into as a younger, you know, teenager or whatever. I mean, do you have that same kind of thing? Do you find older stuff that you go back to and kind of, you know, you're more attracted to now than you were back then?
Yeah, sometimes, you know, I go back and I find, you know, older stuff that's wow. Things in the music like you didn't pay attention to when you were younger, you know, that's one thing, that's for sure, you know. And you know, I rarely listen to a lot of new stuff, really, because I'm working with new music like 8 to 10 hours a day, 5 days a week at least, you know. So
you don't have a lot of listening time. You're listening to bits and pieces all the time.
Yeah, it's part of your work.
Exactly,
so it's
bits
harder,
and pieces, you know, and that's where I get my modern music kind of feel, you know.
Yeah.
And when bands, you know, tell me, have you heard that? And have you heard that? And I'll check that up, you know. But when I come back after like an 8-hour day or 10-hour day here, I don't put on, you know, Slayer or Metallica or but once in a while, when I've been away from the music scene for a while, you know, and haven't been listening to music for a long time, you know, then I go back and listening to a lot of like 70s stuff, you know, which what I was raised and born on, like for example, Black Sabbath, Thin Lizzy, UFO, stuff like that, you know. That's still my favorite stuff, you know. And also Alice Cooper, of course, you know. Did I say Black Sabbath? Yeah, probably did. You know, stuff like that. And you find new things in the music all the time, you know, when you listen to that now. Yeah,
I saw that you actually saw UFO when you went to see King with Fate in Barcelona, right?
That's correct.
Yeah. How did that go down? I mean, like, was that kind of like King invited you, or you were like, hey, I want to go come check this festival out? Was it maybe
I mean,
a little business?
We actually played that festival a few times earlier, you know, so I was in touch with the promoter and his guys, you know, and of course talked to King too. And I said that me and my wife were coming down there on vacation, you know, took our motor home down there, you know, from Sweden, because not only because of that, because we were on vacation at the same time, but we thought, you know, watching Merciful Fate and those bands that day was a great idea, you know. So We got in there, parked backstage and just had a great time. It was so cool to see all these bands, and you don't really have, you weren't involved in the whole, thing. You were just there as one in the audience kind of thing. That was great. That was really a cool experience, and UFO did great. I did not see anything of Alice Cooper, who also played that night. But Merciful Fate did a great show, I think, so yeah, and I met all the guys, backstage, and we just had a great time. That was really different to be on a festival, in that sense,
Yeah, and they're coming here in a few months actually for the fall tour. When like with King now doing the Merciful Fate thing, do you guys stay in contact? Because I know you guys are still working on the Institute. I know that's still coming out, and you guys are still planning on touring. Do you guys conversate like weekly or bi-weekly? Like, do you guys have like band meetings via Zoom or however?
Usually we do. Right now, they're really busy with Merciful Fate and all the planning of that, of course, so it's not that often now. But I think I'm going to talk to King like tomorrow or so. But it's like every other week, or at least now once a month, I would say at least. But usually it's like weekly. Yeah. When we're planning for King Diamond and that. Yeah.
Or so are we still just working on riffs? I know he has an odd way of doing the story and getting lyrics down and stuff. I mean, are we getting closer to maybe laying some stuff down, or is he focused on Fate right now?
He's focused on Fate right now, but we've been talking a little bit about that, and I sent him a bunch of songs in January that we started working on, arrangement wise, and so in the springtime. But then Merciful Fate came in between, so as soon as they're done with this thing in the fall, we're going to pick that up again and continue, And so we have a bunch of songs, and then also King will write a few songs too, of course, so there will be plenty of songs to put on the album, that's for sure. So yeah, we're definitely working on it.
I've got one more question, and then I'll let Levi ask, because I'll sit here.
Oh, you're good, man.
Thing.
You're good.
So is it still going to be the Institute? Is that still the plan?
I believe so. Yeah.
Okay. And again, like I said, one more question, then I'll hand it over. But you got your first producing credit on Conspiracy, and you guys have kind of like flip-flopped about, and but I feel like you're part of the room anyways, even though you might not get the quote-unquote credit for it. Do you believe you'll have more involvement as far as producing, especially now owning your own studio, and you have for what, 15 years, something like that?
I've been doing this for 28 years.
Yeah.
So I had my own studio for about, I guess, 28 years this summer, I believe.
This is the newer one that you're in now.
Dang.
Yeah, this is the newer one.
Right.
This location I've been in like for 15 years.
Okay.
And the previous one for about 12, 13 years also, so I've been here for a long time doing this, As soon as we're not out with King Diamond and touring, this is what I do. Producing other bands, recording and producing other bands, yeah. So I've been doing that for a long time. But, the last, I would say, maybe 15 years with King Diamond, or maybe even longer, I got more and more involved in the producing process of that, because we always we're trying to get a good sound and trying to do things ourselves, sometimes, good, sometimes not so good. It's like, we're not super happy with everything we did, of course, some albums, even with different producers, did not turn out the way we wanted it, but, you're learning all the time. And I've been doing this now for like, as I said, soon 30 years. It's crazy, man. So, hopefully I do something good, for the next one.
I think you're doing
pretty good.
Yeah, we've been also talking about sounds and stuff with the next album too, so we're kind of on the same level when it comes to that, me and King.
Yeah.
The floor is yours, Levi.
Cool. Well, Andy, I wanted to ask, I fancy myself as a little bit of a bedroom musician. I play a little guitar and bass and drums, and I got a MacBook I like to put things together on. What I always like hearing, what is your songwriting process? What do you Are you let's get the rhythm down, bass and drums, and lay some stuff on top of it? Or, do you just, you're fiddling around, you have a riff and you're like, hey, let's use that? How does it all work for you?
Yeah, I mean, usually I just find a cool riff on the guitar.
Yeah.
And once I have a few things, that, oh, this is interesting, start up the computer, start with the click track in the kind of the same tempo as, the riff is.
Yeah.
And then from there, I just build a song. Like, let's say I come up with a riff. Oh, this is a cool chorus riff or whatever, and then I just kind of lay out the parts of the song with the click track until, I have the right parts and the right sequence of everything. And then I usually put on a drum machine on that. Usually, I don't know if I should say what I'm using, but Easy Drummer is a fucking great thing to do.
Easy Drummer is amazing. There is no shame in Easy Drummer.
That's what I use. And I record, left and right guitar, just like a cue thing, to start with. Put on Easy Drummer. I try a little different things with that, different beats and patterns.
Yeah.
And once that's done, and I'm thinking, oh, this is cool, man. This is like a 4-minute song or whatever, I put some bass on that too, and maybe some harmonies, and then I lay out some keyboard things too, if that's good for the song, and
yeah.
So it's, building it slowly up, and that's what I've been doing now for the songs I sent to King. That's exactly how I started with that, and we decided for a guitar sound a couple of years ago that sounds really, really good. So I've been recording the pre-production kind of things with that exact guitar sound, and I believe we're going to keep that for the album too. And I also have put down some keyboards on it. That's also something we're going to keep,
Yeah.
And if we don't need it, we just take out things, but all that stuff is already there, if we want
it. That's yeah. I always wondered, in a band, when you're in a band that is what you do for a living, I like to know how everybody's creative process. What about, are you a amp sim guy for fiddling around, or are you always miking cabs as far as recording goes?
It depends on, actually, I'm using a Kemper, quite much for rhythm stuff because it's convenient, and I've got some really good profiles on it, from actually my amps, that sounds good. So it really depends on, sometimes, I just feel like, taking out one of my Marshalls in a cab and a really good mic in front of it, depends on the situation, I believe,
Yeah.
And if I'm lazy that day, I just use the Kemper,
Right. It's
so
easy peasy.
When I get requests sometimes, about doing guest solos and stuff, that's also something, depends on what I'm looking for and the day of the mood of the day, I believe,
Yeah.
But if anything, it varies between a good Marshall sound from the Kemper or a Marshall lead sound, from the real thing,
Yeah. Okay.
I always use 412 cabinets with vintage 30s speakers in, which is has been my favorite for like 35 years,
Yeah, you kind of get used to it in the earlier days, and you just stick with it. It works for you, so why change it? It's a winning formula,
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm trying to think of some of my other things. You did so with Death and Chuck Schuldiner, did you help do most of the album, or were you just soloing on that album?
Was
it Individual Thought Patterns?
Yeah, Individual Thought Patterns back in '93. Yeah, I was just soloing.
Killer album.
Thank you. Yeah, I think it's a great album. It turned out
all of Chuck's stuff.
Amazing. Man. I got a lot of really good credits for that too. I think it turned out good.
Yeah.
So all the rhythm parts were already down, and there was no need for me to learn all that. I mean, after we were done, Chuck asked me if I wanted to join the band, and come with them on tour and all that, but I was kind of busy with my own stuff at that time, and I was about to have my second child and all that, and we have been previously, you know, we were touring a lot with King Diamond, so I just need a little break from all that, you know, during those years. So doing the solos on that album was just perfect, you know, because it was a little different too, of course, you know, different musicians and everything was just different. The music too, of course, you know. So I thought it was fun and a great fun challenge actually to do that, you know, at the time.
I had to know because it's another one of those bands that just goes down in history as, and Death really, and Chuck, you know, they really just evolved as the timeline went. You know, the Sound of Perseverance, some people say it was a little too proggy. I think it's an amazing album, you know, and it was his final hurrah. But, and then you had some time with At the Gates, another awesome Swedish band. They're Swedish, right? Yeah,
they're Swedish.
At the Gates, they're cool. So what was that like,
cool,
being with At the Gates?
They're cool guys, and you know, I did a guest solo on, I guess, their last album before they kind of quit, you know. Slaughter of Souls.
Okay.
Back in '95, you know, and I got a lot of really good credit for that one too. And I actually, you know, produced them for a couple of weeks here in the studio. They were doing all the guitars here in the studio like 2 years ago for the previous album, you know, and I also put on a solo back then. Great guys, you know, they're fucking talented, you know. I mean, really cool band.
Yeah. Have you, so I know they play and they're kind of involved with another Swedish guy I watch on YouTube. He's quite famous now, Ola England. He owns Solar Guitars.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with Solar Guitars?
Yeah, I know him. Yeah.
I still want to get another one of those. Right now I'm playing 2 Schecters. I have a 6-string and a 7-string, but I really want to get another Solar because those are fantastic guitars. And, you know, it's built by a guitarist for guitarists.
Yeah.
And he's got all the different tiers. But yeah, I didn't know if you had one or have played one or met him, but that's just another connection with Sweden.
No, I don't have one, you know, and he you know, he told me that just let me know what you want and I'll send you one, you know, but like I never really had the time to check it out. So
yeah,
I've been playing around with, you know, bands coming into the studio and they have Solar guitars. So I've been checking that out, you know, cool guitars. But then again, you know, I'm endorsed by ESP and I just love those guitars. I think they're just amazing. And it's definitely the best guitars I you know, ever played on, I believe, you know, and I got really good support from them, you know, so I'm super happy with that.
It was my first guitar that one of my earlier guitars was a cheap ESP EC10, and then I had an M10 after that and put EMG 81s in it. And I've always been a fan of ESP as well. There's a newer one out now called Arctic Metal or something, and it's just got the single bridge pickup, just all white. I really like it, you know, but my wife might kill me if I buy another guitar, so
there is always room for another guitar.
That's what I tried to tell her. I need all the different tunings. I have to have one for each tuning, you know. I mean,
one guitar for each song you record, you know. I mean.
Yeah, 100%. So, and you know, and I've found I really like Fishman Fluence pickups lately, and you know, it's all personal preference. But I always like talking with, especially someone who is a next level guitarist and someone who does it for a living. I like picking your brain a little bit. What is a scale that I can play, scalar mode that maybe I can play at home to be a little more King Diamond-esque myself, a little more spooky? What's a good one? I'm trying to learn them all.
A diminished scale is always cool, you know, if you want to get some spooky stuff, you know. I mean, I'm not schooled myself, you know, so I can't really tell you, you know, the name of that. You know, I just play something that sounds good, and you know,
that's cool.
You know,
I quit playing a long time ago, so.
Well, you know, I love it because there's a lot of this, you know, and I like modern metal. There's a lot of it I like, but I've also, my heart is in, you know, Iron Maiden and Merciful Fate, King Diamond, Metallica, Slayer, all that. That's Iron Maiden's my favorite band of all time. where I was going with that. Anyways, there is a lot of emphasis on music theory and some of the modern djenty stuff, you know, the progressive, because they all use the different time signatures and scales and modes, all that good stuff. But I'm the same way, you know, I just kind of learn in my bedroom, and I can't really rip a solo, you know.
He's not a
Nothing
solo
like
guy.
Andy LaRocque, but man, I tell you, like the whole time we did the King Diamond, we did Abigail versus Merciful Fate, Don't Break the Oath.
Yeah.
And all talking about Abigail,
You guys won, by the way.
Yeah, yeah. Part of it was because of your guitar work. The Andy LaRocque guitar style and work is just, dude, it's cool. It's so good, and I love watching live shows of you guys getting down up there. And I know you've probably heard it a million times, but you guys fucking rock, man. I mean, there's nothing else to say.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, and
your production is awesome. So yeah.
Hopefully you guys come to the States next year and we get to come see you guys, because I've as soon as I really did the deep dive into King Diamond and started watching live videos and stuff, I was like, I have to see this fucking live. I have to.
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah.
You really have to.
It's
and I really hope so too. You know, next I would say hopefully next fall. You know, but I'm not going to say anything for sure. You know, but that would be great. You know.
Yeah.
All right. So I lied. 2 more questions.
Yeah, that's fine, man.
Okay. So you guys were talking about guitars, and I was kind of sitting on the outside, and we've been talking, me and Andy, back and forth through email for a couple of weeks now, and I've been pondering these questions. So I'm also a huge Bruce Springsteen fan, and I know he still has, you know, his Telecaster that he's played on since forever. Do you have any of your older guitars that you used on like Fatal Portrait, Abigail, and all that stuff?
Yes, I do.
And I know you're endorsed by ESP, so you might not use them, but
no, I don't use them, you know, but they're put away, you know, in a storage. Still got, you know, the kind of pink BC Rich that I had on the first tours.
I always love those.
Yeah, a Jackson style guitar that I actually built myself from a piece of wood.
Nice.
You know, because,
that's badass.
I learned how to build guitars, you know, from scratch. I mean, with everything, not like parts put together, but really building a electric guitar, you know, from scratch. I still got that one. That was used on the video "Welcome Home."
Yeah.
Too, you know, you can see it there, you know, and I still have most of my guitar from that time, actually. You know?
That's great.
There's been a few that I got rid of, you know, that didn't really mean anything to me, but all the guitars that meant a lot to me, I still have.
Okay, and you segue perfectly into my last question. So with a visual band like King Diamond, obviously King with the makeup and everything, and that was one thing that led me to you guys, honestly, because as I said earlier, I'm a huge Kiss fan. But after seeing you guys
we're gimmick fans in general.
Yeah, there's a gimmick we're attached to it.
If it's a costume or a gimmick, we're into it. So,
but I mean, watching you guys in those, you know, videos that you did, I mean, you're so visual. I mean, your guitar playing, I mean, you're fucking just ripping. And why weren't there more King Diamond music videos? Was it a label thing or was it a band thing? Because all of your albums and all your songs are so visual, not just the band.
Yeah, I agree. I believe we just didn't, you know, push it that way, you know. I'm not really sure why, you know. I mean, I know in the 80s, you know, everyone put out videos.
For every
videos like crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. We did a few, but I believe that, you know, we could probably have done a lot more, you know, than that, you know. And to be honest with you, I don't really know why we didn't do that, you know, because as you say, we're very visual, you know, and we could have made some really cool stuff, you know. We'll see. Maybe the next album, you know.
Yeah, I'd love to see a whole album just with every song has a video. And kind of a long form video, you know. I know that's kind of a dated thing now, you know. All bands like in the early 90s seem to have like a long form home video with all the videos from the albums.
Yeah,
but that's just one thing that's really been bugging me, and I've listened to a lot of interviews and read a lot that you've done, and that's just a question that's never been asked that I could find, and I was like, this has to be asked because I need to know.
Yeah,
so you answered it. And I appreciate your time. I mean, it was an honor to talk to you. And like I said, newer fan, but I've consumed so much and will continue to do so. I look forward to the new album. Hopefully we get to see you guys on tour. I might hit you up for some passes or something.
Cool. That's great, man. That's great, dude. if you come around, if you see us coming around your area, just let me know and we'll keep in touch.
Thanks, man. I appreciate
it. If I ever come through Sweden, I want to come try to record at Sonic Studios.
Yeah, the Sonic Train Studios.
Train Studios.
At Sonic Train Studios on Instagram. They're on Facebook. Andy LaRocque on Twitter. Andy's so much history. I mean, like I said in the intro, you're legendary, dude. I know you probably don't like that title, but
that's fine. That's
true,
cool,
man.
You can call me anything you want. My wife does.
I hear that. We both do.
Yeah, I'm familiar with that.
Well, thank you so much again. It was an honor, pleasure. We appreciate your time.
Yeah, thank you, Andy. You've been great, man. We appreciate it. Keep putting out the music, man. It's amazing.
Hey, thank you.
Yeah,
thank you, guys.
Thanks again. Have a great day.
Thank you.
All right.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it. The interview with Andy LaRocque.
Yeah, I'm super pumped because, jokingly, I said, hey, if you guys come around, I'm going to hit you up for passes and stuff. And he was like, yeah, just stay in touch. And when dates get announced, if you see we're coming to your area, get to me and I will. Trust me.
Seeing the King live along with the boys, man, that would be quite the experience. That's theatrical. That's like Alice Cooper 2.0. It's a theatrical show. Not quite that crazy. But.
Yeah, that's something that we could all go to because even though Amanda's not really into that kind of music, she could go and have a good time just seeing the show.
Yeah, exactly. And Mariah trips out on his vocals, so it kind of makes it fun. Yeah, it was a killer interview. Hope everybody enjoyed it. Tommy pulled some strings to get that one. No, he's just a good dude, man. He's a really cool guy, and it was fun to pick his brain a little bit. And
you guys look like you were becoming. You guys look like you were becoming best friends, honestly.
Yeah, we started talking a little gear.
You could see it, even through the computer screen. He had a little twinkle in his eye when you started asking him tech questions.
Yeah, man. Hey, I like that stuff. Yeah. I like to learn all that.
Musicians like to talk to other musicians. No matter the level, you can always. No. I'm sure he was kind of shocked at how much you knew, honestly.
Yeah, and I didn't throw out a lot out there, but it's I wanted to get into the details of how do you compress drums and what is your EQ, but it's it's a whole. That's a whole part two.
I got my main questions out.
Yeah, and they were good ones.
And then I was
good questions.
I was like, I don't want to hog this. I gotta let Levi talk because that's why I texted you earlier. And I was like, what do you got? Because I didn't want to ask the same questions. I didn't want to step on your toes and ask questions you were gonna ask.
You talked business and I talked gear.
Right.
Bada bing, bada boom.
But yeah, in the interview, I was like, yeah, we might need a fucking part two, and I'd totally be down to do another one.
Down with it.
I'd like to honestly do more musicians. I think that was fun.
Yeah, it'd be really cool, man.
So we gotta think of a few, and we'll work on it.
Yeah, we can do that. But until then,
thanks
for listening. Thanks for being a part of the show. Go to prowrestlingtees.com/hills and quads and pick up some of our merch, the best merch you never knew you wanted. And collarandelbowbrand.com. Use coupon code Hills and Quads in all caps at checkout. Somebody did, and
somebody did.
Appreciate you, whoever did that. And of course, our Patreon, where everything is happening, the monthly hangouts, the early content, the extra content, all that good stuff over at patreon.com for $5.
They heard this interview yesterday. So you're a day behind. And even if you're watching or listening later on, they got it first.
Yeah. So if you want it first, check us out over there. It's only $5. Come on. How many things in your life do you spend $5 on a day? And you shouldn't. I do it all the time. I spend too many $5 increments here and there, and then it adds up to be, a good amount.
I see you at the gas station with an armful of shit and just plopping it up on the counter at least twice a day.
I go in to take a piss and I'm like,
this looks good.
Why not get me a smart water for $6 a bottle? It's $2.50, but it's if I'm really dehydrated, or a coffee, or some fucking peanut butter pretzels, whatever it may be. Gotta have my snacks,
sugar-free treats.
Yeah, those are for the house though.
Yeah,
I need to get some. I haven't been farting a lot lately. It's time to get those up. But yeah, so
all right, get out of here. You got stuff to do.
Yeah, You too. But be sure to tell your friends.
Tell your enemies.
We'll see you next time.
Bye.